everybody, Dana here again, and welcome back to Tuesday Tips for Leaders of Volunteers. Now, I'm kicking off a new three-part series called Planning the Perfect Presentation, and this is part one, which is getting the gig. So hopefully you have successfully utilized the Tuesday tips from last year's How to Submit to Conference Proposals, and you've gotten into a conference. That's great. If this is your first time doing a webinar or a live speaking engagement, there's a couple of really good things to keep in mind, or maybe you've done a few of these already and these are new tips for you that you're like, ooh, I've learned that the hard way, or ooh, I'm glad I know that. Now I won't make that mistake going forward. So the main thing is, if you've already got the gig, take a look at the speaker's agreement or MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, or Letter of Intent. There should be some sort of formal paperwork that you are agreeing to create a presentation of a certain length at a certain time on a certain date, whether that's in person or online. And typically this is provided by the host organization. And it's going to vary from place to place, from a big org to a little org. Often it's a very simple, clear, easy few paragraphs on one page, and you each agree to it. Some details to watch for, especially if you're getting into many pages of a contract, is if you have a friend who's an attorney or is good at contracts, maybe have them take a look if it feels really complex, or if you feel overwhelmed by the contract language. But really, most of the time, the few things you have to look out for in a speaker's agreement is there a cancellation policy for either you or the organization? Is this pro bono, or are you getting paid by an honorarium or a fee? And the details of getting that payment or processing that and the timing of it are important. But also, what are the rights and licenses and usage of the material that you're creating and providing for this? Now, most of the time, organizations acknowledge in the contract that this is your IP, your intellectual property, and you own the rights to it, but they're sharing it under certain conditions, like people who register for the webinar or people who are there in person, and maybe you even provide a copy of the slide deck or handout materials or any supplemental information. But that all should be really clear. If you're doing a live in-person presentation, find out, is it going to be recorded, and how and where is that recording going to be shared? So these are kind of some things to think about when you get the gig. Now, for my friends who are aspiring to get into a conference, to do a webinar, to share your expertise and your voice, then they're a good place to start. As usual, my fallback Tuesday tip is your professional network. In the USA, the National Association is ALIVE, Association of Leaders in Volunteer Engagement. In Canada, it's VMPC. In the UK, it's AVM. But there may also be, wherever you are in the world, a local volunteer center or a local chapter that's specific to a sector you're in, like for zoos or museums or human services or animal welfare. So start with your professional networks if you're looking to land your first speaking gig. And also you can check with, I'm going to put some links below for like Nonprofit Learning Lab and a few other places who are always looking for more content from new voices to share their knowledge and their experience. So I hope you get the gig and have enjoyed part one in planning the perfect presentation. Stay tuned next week for part two and then part three.